We all work to make a success. We strive at Estrella to get that. When you leave today, you'll go back and you'll ask yourself a few questions, and your family and your friends will ask you, you went to this investment conference, what was your best investment pick? And how did you derive that? It's very difficult. There's a diverse amount of companies. There's a diverse amount of commodities. What do you do? Well, I'll tell you what I do and what I think my best pick is. And I think you already know what my best pick is. 3 C's: country, company, commodity. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you what that means for Estrella Resources. The obligatory disclaimer: this has been released to the ASX platform. You can look at this in your own free time and your research, which I implore you to do about our company. So let's start with the first C, country. Timor-Leste, one of the youngest nations on the planet today, on the doorstep of Australia. A population of 1.8 million, 98% Christians, peaceful nation and has been for 25 years. 5 democratic elections, very peaceful. They won their independence in 2002 after 400 years of colonisation with the Portuguese and 35 years of struggle with Indonesian occupation. Timor, over the last 10 years or so, generated significant revenues from oil and gas. Those revenues they've spent wisely, and some revenues they may not have. That oil and gas revenue came to an end last year. The Bayu-Undan fields depleted, and the country saw that. Their leaders saw that coming. They need to generate more revenue for their people. And how do nations and building nations, what do you do? When you're an emerging country like Timor-Leste, you open up your minerals industry. And that's what they did, and they've done that in recent times. Let's move on to Estrella, the second C, the company. We're an ASX-listed micro-cap. Small team, but dedicated. We've built a team in Timor-Leste to explore this nation, and we've been the first to do it in a tender process that was opened up in 2023, where Estrella pre-qualified, and we went after assets that I personally viewed in 2008, and I knew they were good. So imagine us in 2023 going after an asset I saw 15 years earlier. That's the dedication that we put towards our success. We were successful in that, and we were awarded concessions 1, 2 and 3, and we received those concessions from Xanana Gusmao, the most revered man in Timor, the freedom fighter and the president of Timor-Leste. He is a nice man. What they've been able to do is attract foreign investment to drive the nation. We as a company have been fortunate enough to move into this country and take the best technologies to go and find minerals of economic importance. You can see on the map above me, not only have we received concessions 1, 2 and 3, we've expanded that. And we're now the largest concession holder in Timor-Leste, with almost 700 square kilometres of highly prospective mineral or country for mineral exploration. Think Papua New Guinea, think Indonesia, squeezing in between Timor-Leste, some of the highest, largest copper gold mines in the world. Why would Timor-Leste be any different? And we know they won't be different because we've seen the copper, we've seen the gold, and we will find it. So as I mentioned, Shanana Guzmau gave me concession 1, 2 and 3. And we're into it. The past 12 months, we've built our team, we've established a base in Timor, we've set up labs, we've sent our guys out into the field, and we're making discoveries. That doesn't happen overnight, as I said. It took me 15 to 17 years to get the company to this point. So what have we found? Let's move to number 3 in what we're looking at here. Commodity. Manganese. Used for steel production. You cannot make steel without manganese. When steel is repurposed and refurnished, manganese doesn't regenerate. You need to keep putting manganese into the furnaces. But there's manganese and then there's manganese. And like every commodity in every mineral space, what you do need is you need grade. Grade wins every time. Whether it be gold, whether it be lithium, whether it be copper, or whether it be manganese. The manganese in Timor, we're seeing at surface, is 50 to 55%. That is some of the best grade manganese you'll see anywhere in the world. Make no mistake. I was out on the floor in the conference centre just a bit earlier, and a very well-respected company, and somebody that works in the manganese industry for a very long time, wandered by the booth and saw the manganese grades. And he said to me, "You don't get those grades anywhere in the world anymore." And I said, "You do in Timor." So we'll keep talking as we move our projects forward, and he may assist me in getting this manganese to market. But that's the other critical part about manganese. It's a bulk commodity. You need to get it to market. How do we do that? By road or by rail and through the ports. It makes it very difficult if you're 1,000 kilometres from a port or you don't have roads and infrastructure. Fortunately for us, Estrella Resources, this little company from Perth, Western Australia, we have the benefit of the oil and gas revenues for Timor-Leste and the well-spent money in infrastructure, which will allow this product to get to markets, both internally. Logistics for Timor-Leste is as sweet as they get. That manganese that I'm sitting next to, 55%, will be one of our first drill targets. It sits 400 metres from a sealed road, 15 kilometres from a deep water port. Phenomenal. This discovery at Erameri, which is one of many that we've made, was via very, very smart geology from our team. What we did in the first initial 6 months is we built a geological model. Where is this manganese coming from that we're seeing as we moved about our tenements? We discovered there was a particular sedimentary horizon that was enriched in manganese, creating this bed of high-grade, super high-grade manganese. So we could start thinking about where that sedimentary horizon may exist within our concession areas. We sent our geologists, national geologists, out into the field, and what did they find? Outcropping at surface, Erameri. Tetum for new water. But it's not the only discoveries we've been able to make, and it won't be the last. We've got an enormous area to cover. We're still finding manganese. We only recently announced the Suru discovery. Lena, Sika, Samilari, all high-grade manganese discoveries at surface. The most basic of mining propositions, surface mining, no processing. We're not going to be building $300 million processing plants. We just dig it up and we send it to a port which is 15 kilometres away. Think iron ore, think bulk commodity, but think 4 times the value. That's manganese, high-grade manganese. That's Timor manganese that Estrella has within its concession areas. So, what are we going to do about it? Well, as Chrissy said, we're now capitalised. For the first time in my 25 years running a public company, have I been able to raise capital at a premium to market 3 times. Boom, 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 every time. Premium. And why do you think we're doing that? Because people want in to this story. They want exposure to this story. I can tell you one of the world's best and most prominent gold investor. He's been in gold all his life. He was asked the other day, what other investments might you make outside of gold and silver? And what did he say? You guessed it, manganese. So think BYD, think fast charging, think manganese, think of reducing range anxiety. Manganese, make no mistake, there will be a market for manganese for our lives and our children's lives. Forever. So we're capitalised, and we're going to drill, and we're going to drill, and we're going to drill. I know, and I'll point out to a few people, and they'll be happy to hear this, there will be a release tomorrow morning on the ASX platform of a contract and partnership signed with a Timorese group who's been in country and is well connected. They're going to get the job done for us. And boy, are we going to drill. As I stand here today, that drill rig has left Darwin. You'll see on the ASX platform tomorrow morning before market what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, how much of it we're going to do. 10,000 metres of RC, 3,000 metres of diamond. Drill, drill, drill. That's how we're going to create value for our shareholders. That's how I'm going to create value for anybody in this room that may become an investor in Estrella Resources. So as I mentioned, infrastructure proximity to market, 15 kilometres from the Port of Com, deep water port, fully bitumised road, all the way, across the top of the country. New deep water freight port in Dili was put in and service commissioned last year. One of the important steps when we moved into Timor was that we needed a strong partner. As I mentioned, Murak Rai is the state-run mining company. They're sitting beside me. They selected us. We will carry them to the mining stage, 30%, and then they can make a decision to contribute or go back to a 2% NSR. Great to have them on board. National Mining Company of Timor. So there it is, we're gaining momentum. I stood up in a conference, one of Stewie's conferences in October last year, and I mentioned at the time, at the very end, I thought Estrella was going to be a 10-bagger. Well, we're 5x today, and we're going to keep going. Don't wait. We'll be drilling When those rigs hit town in the next 2 weeks, we get through Easter, mark my words, we'll be drilling high-grade manganese. That's me smiling, waiting for the drill rigs to appear. I hope you've all taken this in. I implore you to investigate further. And I'll stop with stay engaged, stay tuned, go Estrella, obrigado, and thank you, and God bless.